For years, under the ownership of Activision, Spider-Man has been subjected to a succession of games that fail to do proper justice to Marvel's most iconic character. Movie tie-in Spider-Man 2 and Tony Hawk dev Neversoft's efforts the only real exceptions. Enter Ratchet & Clank developer Insomniac, who might have managed to create not only a sensational open world experience, but quite simply the best Spider-Man game ever made. It does this by cribbing from the best example of the genre, Rocksteady's seminal Batman Arkham series, then puts its own distinctly arachnid stamp on the game's combat and fluid traversal, to make fighting and swinging your merry way through New York City an absolute pleasure. Fundamentally, Insomniac just gets Spider-Man, showing a real understanding of what it is that makes him tick. The double life that you lead as both Spidey and Peter Parker is conveyed brilliantly. Having to juggle crime fighting with a demanding, precarious and not particularly well paid laboratory job, as well as the strain it all puts on Pete's relationships, is part and parcel of the narrative, which is the aspect of the comic book stories that has always been the most interesting. This is an experienced web-slinger we're dealing with in Insomniac's game, however. Parker, an 8-year veteran with the webs, he's locked up his fair share of supervillains and managed to make a lot of enemies in that time. Not least the blustering, pig-headed J. Jonah Jameson, who continues to drag the friendly neighbourhood wall crawler's name through the mud on his radio show, despite no longer heading up the Daily Bugle. Of course, the rantings of JJ are nothing compared to the wrath of the criminals that threaten to make Spidey's life an abject misery, as the likes of Kingpin, Mr. Negative, Rhino, Electro, Vulture, Shocker and Scorpion all have it in for you, and an army of thugs running rampant throughout NYC wreaking havoc all over the place. What this means is side content galore in all shapes and sizes, from random crimes occurring on the fly to challenges issued by a shady figure that fans of Marvel Comics will no doubt enjoy. There are more involved side missions to tackle too, criminal hideouts to clear out, research station objectives, pigeons to catch for some reason, and other side activities alongside a raft of collectibles and landmarks to take pictures of. Completing these objectives grant tokens that are then used to unlock new spider suits, gadgets and upgrades for said gadgets, so you're not swinging around completing side activities and collecting stuff for the hell of it. Not that there's anything wrong with that, of course. But it's the core mechanics of Spider-Man that ensure the game never grows wearisome, because there is a fair bit of repetition, in some of the side missions especially, that could have otherwise began to grate. The Batman Arkham style combat and stealth is uniformly excellent and only gets better and better the more skills you acquire as you level up. While the traversal is truly wonderful, chances are you'll neglect the game's fast travel points in favour of web lining between skyscrapers, pulling off acrobatic tricks as you go. If you do decide to use fast travel though, you do get a cool little subway ride, which is a nice touch. While stealth-based Mary Jane sections reveal a different perspective on certain events and slow things down a bit, it takes nothing away from the inherent joy of being Spider-Man, thwipping from point to point, busting heads and clashing with some of old Webhead's greatest villains. Simply put, Insomniac's Spider-Man is not just the best Spidey game of all time, but one of the finest, most deliriously enjoyable open world games you'll play this year. It's spectacular. Spider-Man is out on September 7th for PlayStation 4 and is really good. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to comment, like and subscribe. Cheers, see you next time, bye.